Hello there, everybody. Good afternoon for those that is afternoon. And of course, good evening to people that are following, especially from the GMT plus one time zone. And of course, other time zone. You're all welcome to day two of this special program that we have been having. And we have been taking a deep dive into the latest released book. It has been like a master class combined, and of course, with a book review, if you may put it that way. So, we have been looking at from yesterday, this is day two. So, if you're here for the first time, please, when you are done with this day two, go back and watch day one because we're doing a progressive kind of teaching and book review of the book Hiring Your Kids, Saving Taxes, and Building a Legacy. And I know from the book context, it fits a lot to people in North America, especially the United States. However, there are a lot of insights and wisdom from the book that any parent from anywhere around the world can begin to study and do a deep dive to understand how to incorporate some of these insights and wisdom with your kids to build a proper financial legacy, wealth building legacy, especially in your family. One of the most important things that a parent can be able to transfer to the children is that wealth building legacy, wisdom, insight, strategies. This is how we did it, and this is what you can start doing in your own dispensation. And we have been having a great time from yesterday with the amazing Dr. Lilly Mbinglo. And if you know her, you know that she's good at what she does. She is exceptionally good at this. And you need to sit down and just go through some of the things that she's always talking about, from taxes to building a business to leadership to strategy and what have you. So without much delay, let me bring on stage Dr. Lilly, who is here with me, and she is the latest author in town, and we have been breaking down her newest book just kind of a few days on Amazon, and we've been looking at how to hire your kids, save taxes, and building a legacy. So while we are getting set to start, please comment where you are joining us from. I see some people indicating already. Comment your city and your state or your country, and let us give you a special presidential shout out. Okay. All right. So welcome on stage, Dr. Lilly. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So excited. We're on day two. Anyone
Absolutely.
who missed yesterday, I hope they go back and watch yesterday's episode, if I'll call that, or session. It was really good, and I couldn't be more excited for today.
Absolutely. All right. So before we get into the proper discussion, let me just kind of do a brief introduction, and especially new people who Dr. Lilly is, so that you are not wondering why should I sit down for the next few minutes and listen to this lady, right? So let me give you a brief introduction. She is a licensed CPA, and not just that, she's really an industry leading CPA with extensive experience, not just running her own business, but both from corporate America, now running her own business. Not only that, she is, you can, what they say, an academician, right? She is an accounting professor with the prestigious Regent University, where she lectures accounting courses and also raising, fresh CPAs and accountants
Yes.
for the marketplace. And she specializes in serving people, individuals, businesses, nonprofits, and churches, and what have you. So you can check out the ARC NPS, a CPA firm, and not just that, but an award-winning, respected, celebrated CPA firm. It has been ranked number one certified, public accountant in Chesapeake, Virginia, by Business Rate, and of course, number one best accounting firm again by three best rated organizations. So you need to be part of them if you run a business in the United States. And it's good to have people already from Chicago here. Welcome from Bismarck. Welcome, welcome. Good to have everybody so far. All right. So again, get your journals, get your pens, because trust me, you will have a lot to take down.
Yes.
And don't worry, you can always get the book and have a proper synopsis or detailed explanation of every strategy. So that is the book, Hire Your Kids, Save Taxes, and
And
Build
build a
a
legacy.
Legacy. All right. So get the book on Amazon, and trust me, it will be one of the best things that you can get on
Indeed.
Amazon. So please, you can just scan that code right there, that QR code, and you get the book, How Your Kids Save Taxes and Build a Legacy. So today we're going to cover very exciting stuff that will enable anybody to understand where to start, what to keep doing, what to stop doing, and maybe what to scale. And before we get
Yes.
into the nitty gritty, maybe a few technical stuff, let us start from a lighter note. And when you read the book from, let's go back to the introduction, um, there is a phrase that you used. You said that parents, you are calling parents CEOs of household. And that was so good. It was so good to me. And I was wondering why was it important for you to frame everyday mothers, everyday fathers as business leaders instead of just caregivers to their kids? Why did you frame them that way?
Oh, I love that. And that was put on purpose, right? Because sometimes when we think of, you know, of making a home or building a family, we
Mhm,
don't realize how aligned it is with actually running a business or an
mhm,
organization or a corporation, right? A CEO is a chief executive officer, which means
mhm,
this is someone who is in charge of making decisions, of working with different parties to make sure that we're on the same page, not just having the vision. Sometimes they can
mhm.
get the vision from the board or the Lord, but being able to execute it and making sure that everyone understands what their roles are, right? And so
Exactly.
both the father and the mother here play that role very effectively when they're raising their kids, because
Mhm,
every family needs to have that vision. And so when you think of parents who are in business, they are also CEOs in their households. They have to make sure that there's a vision that everyone can capture. They have to raise kids that not only align with this vision, but also with the purpose that God created them for. When you hire a CEO, there's a purpose for hiring them, right? They have to execute. When God appoints you into this position and entrusts you with parenting, you have been called into a serious position of responsibility. And so being able to execute in that makes you the CEO of your household. And with
absolutely.
that in mind, finding ways to bring your kids on board, right? So you're both the CEO at your business and at the home, and finding ways to bring your kids on board while building a legacy that will
Yes.
outlive you is where it all
Absolutely.
comes together.
Absolutely. Awesome. That is so good. That is so good. Good to see Lemma from Cameroon. Good to see Christian, Gone Christian, the influential Gone Christian. Good to see you. I hope you're going to get a copy, my brother.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if
I
you
told
those
him
are
I was up for
thousands of
adoption. He has
followers
not
that you
responded to me.
have. Awesome. 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 All right. Now, another question on a lighter note before I get into some serious stuff. You because when I was reading the book, one of my friends watched this and he was like, I didn't know you could host a book launch like that. I'm saying, only Dr. Lilly can bring that out of me. So, so when I was reading that book, you said that the book is about impact,
Yes.
not just about income. That may
Yes.
sound just like basic English, but it's not.
Mhm. Yes.
Right. Those are very powerful words. You said, because when you pick the book, when you see taxes and see legacy, you can think only about income and money.
Yes.
But you make the statement that the book is not just about impact, it is
Yes.
about income. That stood out for me. So
Yes.
I want to ask you a question from that. When did you first realize, as a tax expert, as somebody who has been in the industry, I've studied accounting for years, When did you realize that tax strategy could also be a form of family empowerment?
Oh, that's good. I love that. I want to first of all anchor on what you said, because this is really about impact. It's beyond the
Mhm,
money part, right?
mhm,
Because there'll be people that will never even get hold of this. But if
mhm,
they grasp the concept behind this, which is about leaving a legacy, then we're
mhm.
good, right? So now let's
Absolutely.
come back to this part of the strategy. You know, I work with families. I
Mm,
This is what I do for a living, right? I serve businesses, I serve individuals, I serve nonprofits. Who are the people that are the owners of these businesses? They are people like you and I, family people, right? And it was very important for me that, you know, getting the knowledge of the tax code and how the tax code is designed to support entrepreneurs, I could bring that home to my clients and to people too that may never get to work with me, but to my community as a whole, right? So let me just break down something very simple. The tax code in the US, I mean, it's different for other countries, but in the US, the tax code is focused on helping two groups of people, I'm sorry, business owners and real estate investors. Now, everybody else kind of has to stay compliant. But you see, if you're a business owner and you're a real estate investor, there are so many strategies in the tax code to encourage that mindset so that people can take ownership, people can invest in the community, create opportunities, right? So when you're a business owner, what happens now? The tax code allows you to only pay taxes on what is left at the end of the month or at the end of the year or whatever, right? So when you make money, they understand that you have to create opportunities, you have to pay people. There's all these things that need to happen in order for you to run a system that not only adds value to the economy, but creates opportunities for other people to earn income. By so doing, you don't pay taxes on your gross, you only pay taxes on what is left. Okay. So how does the tax code come in now to benefit a business owner? They look at it from the perspective that, hey, if you have a family, you could actually hire your kids, right? You can bring them on. Some of that money that you could have paid hiring someone else, you could actually pay it to your kids. And if you don't pay them past a certain amount, that could be reinvested into their future. You can help them develop that entrepreneurship talent or skill set, which will make them even more valuable to the society. Now, with understanding this, I started to realize a lot of us are not leveraging this. Other families, other races, people from other backgrounds have been using this for years. They've been using this to fund their kids' futures, their education. We never knew, right? And so once I came into this space, and you know my heart for this, I tell everybody, business for me was never really about making money. I came into this because I wanted to teach. I saw the gap. I saw the gap in my community in terms of the knowledge gap. And when I came into business, my heart was to teach is how can I simplify this so that you realize that it's there for you and I. We're business owners. And so the tax code is giving us these different strategies to help us to continue to save some of the money that we're making so we can reinvest it back into the economy. How can I bring that to you so you understand that if you bring your family on board, not only are you shifting this income into your family, it's helping you not have to give the money to Uncle Sam, and it's giving you an opportunity to reinvest it and build a legacy that will outlive you, that will go past this generation and the next generation. Because apart from the money is the mindset that you give your kids in doing this. And so we're learning all of that and bringing it here. That's why we're here. That's why the book is here, to simplify the strategy, to show us that it can be done. But it's
mm,
beyond the money, like you said. It's beyond saving taxes. It's
mm,
beyond making money. It's also about showing your kids what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to speak to people that come to you as customers, right? What it
absolutely.
takes to be kind to people, what it takes to do to perform under pressure and not let it break you, what it takes to make decisions day in, day out, always keeping in the back of your mind how you're serving the
Mhm.
greater good of the community. So that's
Absolutely.
what this legacy
Absolutely.
is about. Way more
That
than
that was so good. That was so good. Guys, you guys have to get a copy of this book.
yes.
If you are a mother, you're a father, you have to get a copy of this book. If you are single and planning to get married, plan this part of marriage, this part of family planning.
Yes.
Give in advance and be ready. If you're pregnant or expecting, part of that
Absolutely.
is get this book and start preparing. And I'm happy to see that people who have had copies of this book, they are here in the comment section. Stacy says she grabbed her own copy yesterday and she's already drinking from your ocean of knowledge.
Thank
Anita
you.
says
Thank
ordered my
you.
copy.
Thank you.
Sarah says grabbed my copy already. uh, Gong Christian says he's definitely grabbing his copy.
And
Thank
many
you. Yes,
others.
yes. Please scan the QR code on your screen and happily
Thank you.
get that, or just go on Amazon and type Dr. Lilly Mbinglo CPA, and you'll see all her books that she has for you. Now,
Thank you.
let us get a bit deeper into something that is very close to your heart, which is you intentionally balance faith and strategy. You are what we can call kingdom
Yes.
entrepreneur. So you intentionally balance, your faith
Yes.
and your strategy, and you bring that into what you do, into the classroom where you lecture as a professor, the way you serve your clients, and everywhere you carry that with you. And
Yes.
you also highlight spiritual legacy alongside financial legacy in the book. And I think that is so important. And
Yes.
so I want to ask you, why do you believe? Because this is something I believe, some like I know you, I believe this is something you're living on a daily basis. You live it as a mother, you live it as a professor, you live it as an entrepreneur who owns the ARC NPS. You live that. So why do you believe faith and finance should be taught together in family wealth conversations?
Oh, that is so good, Doc. First, you're right on it. I leave my faith in everything that I do. It's because first thing I recognize that it's not even by my doing that I'm right here with you,
Mm,
right? It's by God's goodness that I am able to be here, that I have the knowledge that I do, that I am able to wake up every day and do this. And
mm,
secondly, because I got to understand who I was in Him, and because I get to live this life of purpose, the fulfillment that it gives me, it's insane, right? Because now when I do any of the things I do, the reason people see the passion come through is because I know that it's beyond me, it's beyond now, it's beyond money. It's something that I
absolutely.
was created to do. And because God is giving me the ability to do it, that gratitude alone makes me put my best foot forward. And that's
Mm,
why I find it important that we incorporate financial teachings with our faith. And this is why when you live a life of purpose, like I do, the one thing that you're not driven by is money. And
mm,
I'll tell you, if you meet an entrepreneur who is not driven by money, the way they serve is very different. That means when they show up to the marketplace, they know that they're an ambassador for the kingdom. They come
mm,
with their light, they come giving value, irrespective of who is benefiting. Does that make
absolutely.
sense? But if a
Yes.
person is serving because they are driven by money, do you know what happens? They start to look at people's faces before they decide how they are going to serve them.
Mm,
Right. And
mm,
when you operate like that, you're always going to be disappointed. And one
absolutely.
beautiful thing when you work with God is He guarantees us two things. He said,
Mhm.
Heaven and earth will pass, but this principle will not pass.
Yeah.
There will be what? Seed time, and there'll be harvest. And what happens now when you operate with the principles of our faith is you recognize I have to plant. Part of planting is what? Doing diligent work, working in integrity, working in a
Mm,
way that honors God, serving people with the fullness of all that you embody, figuring out ways to add value. Because what's so incredible is that where you plant the seed is never even where you harvest. But the thing
absolutely.
about God is that He doesn't miss a thing. He doesn't miss a thing. That means there is nothing that you do that He does not see. And for
Mm,
that reason, when He rewards you, it's so abundant that sometimes you're wondering, like, I don't even know how this is happening. Some doors are opening that make no sense. And so when we start to teach that to our kids from a young age, we show them that first of all, you as a person, you matter. You matter because God loved you and put you here for a reason.
Mhm.
And because you understand that you matter, everybody else that you meet also matters. So if God has graced you in an area, if He has blessed you in an area where He has given you the strength, the grace, the wisdom to operate in
Mhm.
that area, don't be so consumed by money that it prevents you from giving the world your best. Show up
Absolutely.
your best. Show up
Mhm.
100% because you see that money, it will chase the value. It's never the other way around. The value doesn't chase money, it's money that chases the
Exactly.
value. And
Exactly.
these are some of the things that I want our parents to pass on to the next generation of kids.
Mm.
You want to show your kids that when you walk into a room, it doesn't matter what a person looks like, you serve them like royalty because you are. And because they matter to God, else they'll not even be here in this moment. You
Yeah.
give them your best. You
Mm.
never know who it is that you're serving, right? And so
Absolutely.
I really want this concept of finance and faith to be incorporated so that
Mhm.
our desire for money, I think money is important. It is. I mean, money will solve little issues and reduce
Mm.
your prayer time, as I tell people. But money can never become too important that it
Mhm.
prevents you from honoring God in the way you talk, in the way you serve, in the way you
Yeah.
show up, and in the way you add value. And
Mhm.
when you keep honoring Him, you will never want to cut corners. And I tell people, you can never cut enough corners, right? You will never cut corners because you know that even nobody's watching, He's always watching. And those are the things that we're teaching our kids, that
Mhm.
even if nobody's watching, He always is. So give your 100% because in due time, the reward
Yeah.
will come. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so good. That is so good. Now, one thing that really stands out in this book is how almost in every chapter there is a step-by-step procedure on what to do so
Yes.
that no parent can really be just confused with
Yes.
the details, right? And that's one thing I love about the book. There's a step-by-step procedure that really demonstrate that, hey, based on the focus of this chapter, if you
Yes.
follow these steps, you can be able to apply this yourself. Now,
Yes.
my next question is I want to ask a question around payroll and documentation in the sense that maybe some parents might be watching and they're wondering, do I really need a payroll software for my
Yes.
child? Right? And so, how can you advise a parent to balance that formal system that they may
Yes.
have in mind with keeping things very practical and family friendly at the same time? How can they balance that thought of, oh, do I need a payroll
Maybe this.
software to
Yeah.
manage that? How do I ensure that, when I'm dealing with my kids in the business, there is still that family friendly atmosphere around the business?
I love that. Oh my God. Oh no, you're so good, man. You're so good. Okay. So for those that might have missed yesterday, it's
Mhm.
important that I explain what this strategy is so I can efficiently answer. Is it effectively answer? I can answer your question really well.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me talk about what this strategy is for
Mhm.
parents who are in business. Okay, what this entire strategy of hiring your kids is that if you hire your kids to work in your business and they're doing legit work and you do not pay them over the standard deduction, your
Mhm.
standard deduction is what the IRS allows you to be able to write off as a typical expense a person in a certain group would have
Mhm.
in a year, whether you're single, you're married, or you're single parent head of household. Okay. So if you pay your kids the standard deduction for a single person and you don't go over that, the IRS allows you first to be able to deduct that money as a business expense from your business to pay your child that amount, and your
Mhm.
child does not have to file taxes or report that income or pay any taxes on that. Okay. And
Mhm.
so the way this works is if your child is under the age of 18, they work for your business, you pay them. For this year, the standard deduction is 15,750. They are
Mhm.
working for your business, you're paying them maybe 1,050 a month, or so long as you don't pay them over 15,750 for the year. Your kid doesn't have to file their own taxes. You do not have to issue them any documentation, and
Mhm.
you get to write off the business deduction from your business. So that's 15,000 in business expense that you get to write off from your business, but the
Yeah.
money went to your child. Your child doesn't even have to file taxes because
Mhm.
it's under the standard deduction. Okay. Now,
Awesome.
the idea of this is because the government has assumed that you're claiming your child on your taxes. Okay. So it's one household. So it makes no sense for your child now to be paying payroll taxes when we're one household. But when your child goes past this age, the rules change, especially if you're no longer claiming them on your taxes. Now, Doc was asking that, okay, because you're paying your child and that's your child, you're paying them from your company. And do and you don't want to deal with the complexities of running payroll for them. How do you deal with this? Okay. So I will have to specify that how you pay your child depends largely on how your business is set up. Okay. So if you're a sole proprietor or you're a single member LLC, most of us here have LLCs and you're a single member LLC, that means it's in your name. Or if you have an LLC of multi partners, which is husband and wife, which means you and your spouse, both parents of the child. In these categories, when you hire your child, you pay your child directly. You don't have to issue them any documentation, especially because you're filing taxes with this child. The goal behind this again is that your child is on your personal taxes, you're reporting your business income and expenses as a sole proprietor or a single member LLC on your personal taxes. Okay. Now, when you are set up as a corporation means it's an entity that is separate from you as the individual, which means those benefits you're having with your child as parent and daughter or son no longer exist because the corporation has a mind of its own. It goes into contracts, it hires, and all of those things. So in that case now, instead of paying your child, you can still pay your child directly, but you have to run payroll for them because they're being hired as an employee of the corporation that is not factoring whether you're the parent or not. All right. There's another corporation which is called the S corporation, which is not a business entity structure. It's an IRS election, which means it's a way that you tell the IRS to treat your business. It has a lot of advantages, but the idea behind it is that you're telling the IRS to treat you and your business as separate from each other. Okay. Now, so when you have this situation of the S Corp and the C Corp, both businesses are separate from you as the parent. You now have to do payroll for your child. So, coming to your question, if I wanted to simplify things and not have to run payroll, I will make sure that my business is either a sole proprietorship, I'm a single member LLC, or if I go into a partnership, it's between me and my spouse. So that way, we don't need to run payroll to pay our child. We can do direct deposits to the child. But now, if we are set up as a corporation, which is completely separate from us, the parents, then if we pay the child, we do have to run payroll because they are now an employee of the company. However, if the child doesn't still make over the standard deduction, the child does not need to file taxes. So if you make less than the standard deduction in this country, generally, you don't need to file any taxes, if that makes sense. Then you, as the business, has to pay them and you have to withhold taxes. Meanwhile, in those other entities, you didn't need to withhold any taxes.
Nice, nice,
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
That was so good, guys. You see, you just have to get the book. This book
Yes.
is so good. This book is so good. There is a paragraph I saw that is the second paragraph in chapter 6. It was just so nice for that it can just shift the mind of every parent. And you said in that paragraph that your child's paycheck isn't just income.
Yes.
It it is a tool to teach financial literacy,
Yes.
launch generational wealth,
Yes.
and raise financially free adults.
Yes.
That is such a profound, you know, paragraph there that reveals a lot. Now,
Yes.
I want to. There's a question here that I want to share so that you can respond to it. It is from Book Firm. He says, if a parent is reading your book, what are the first three practical steps you would have them take this week? All right, that's very interesting.
That's
Very
very
interesting
interesting. Okay,
question.
I'm
Yes,
gonna. Oh, we have to call. In fact, let's do this as the last question, because then that way we give them enough to take home. But
absolutely.
before you proceed, I want to say something, please. Before you proceed, as much as my last response, I said if you're set up in those different entities, the
Mhm.
complexities are easier. You don't need payroll system. Please,
Yeah,
that does not negate the fact that you need to document. Let me point that out.
very
Okay, you
important.
still
Very
need to
important.
document what you're paying your child, and
Yeah.
the advantage of getting this book is We've given you templates you can use to create job descriptions for them. You can use to do a family contract with them with how much you'll be paying them, so that you can, and how you, and also a template for you to track what you're paying them. So even if you don't run payroll, I don't want you to think that you're exempt from keeping documentation, because that's the only way you stay out of trouble with Uncle Sam. Yes. I didn't want to forget to say that. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in the book, you did mention about different strategies that parents can apply to maybe reinvest the money they're paying their kids. And you mentioned different things from Roth IRA and family investment funds and,
Yes.
all those kind of things that, and guys, those things sometimes may sound like further maths to some people, right? The good news is that Dr. Lilly offers free 15-minute consultations for
Yes.
you, so you can book that out and just talk to her, and if need be, book an extra 1 hour session with her and let her lay it down for you. Like we always say in business strategy, execution without strategy can cause you more problems than you know. So
Yes.
sometimes paying an expert to lay down for you before you begin to act can save you 10 years of suffering and 20 years
Absolutely.
of had I known. So
Yes.
in the book, you give a few strategies that parents can begin to put to use. Maybe whether at the end of the year their kids are making $10,000, $5,000, $3,000, it doesn't matter. But there are strategies in place that if they know what to do with the money,
Yes.
they will be able to make good use of that money, that when the kid is 20 years, even 30 years, even 50
Yes.
years after, right, they
Absolutely.
can be able to make good use of what they started earning at a very young age. So
Yes.
I want to ask this for parents who are skeptical watching this right now. They are wondering, these IRAs and these funds that you talk about, they are skeptical, and
Yes.
especially people who are not born in America, people who are not, of the system, right?
Yes.
They are wondering these things. If they come from countries that they doubt the government systems,
Yes.
they'll be skeptical.
Yes. Yes.
So, how do you convince them that starting at the age of 12, at the age of 14, and doing the right thing can actually change their child's financial outlook
Yes.
20 years after, 50 years
Yes.
after, 25 years after? What can
Yes.
you tell a skeptical
Oh
parent?
my God, that is a good one. So I will say this first. With anything that has to do with money, this
Mhm.
has worked from generations before us till now. It
Yeah.
continue to work. You need discipline.
Mhm.
You need discipline. The second thing that cannot be disputed is what we call compounded interest. Okay, these two things. You need discipline, and you need and when you combine it with what we call compound interest,
Mhm.
it's just an insane story. But now let me explain what I mean. For someone who is hiring their kid, okay, you pay your child. Let's say you're paying your child $6,000 a year.
Mhm.
You give them 1,000 to spend, right? You take 5,000, you put it in an account for them. Now, unfortunately, and I have to say this, let me give a disclaimer. I do understand that certain countries do not have systems that are as reliable as the US.
Yeah.
So it's very important that I put that out there, that I cannot speak for every country. But for
Mhm.
those that are here in the US, I want to speak to those parents specifically.
Mhm.
Okay. So now in the US, I want to give an example. There's something called Roth IRA.
Mhm.
Roth IRA is like a retirement account that you can set up for your child. Okay. You can put up to $7,000. That's the limit for now. But let's say you paid your child $6,000. You gave them 1,000 and you took 5,000 and you put in a Roth IRA. Okay.
Mhm.
Every year you put $5,000 in a Roth IRA. Every year you put $5,000 in that Roth IRA. Mind you, it's being invested.
Mhm.
Interests are being accrued. The interest plus the initial investment you put in, all of them keep getting reinvested. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, without having a calculator and without doing it off my head, because I've done it before, but I don't. But let's just say you did that for your child starting from the age of 12, and you got to
Mhm.
the age of 18 and you stopped and say, okay, let them figure out themselves. By the time your child gets to at least 40s and 50s, they might have been able to save up to over $1 million
Wow.
because of compounding interest. Now, let's
Mhm.
use compounding interest in simple terms. You have $100 that is being compounded at 4%. Okay. 4% of $100 is just $4. Doesn't look like a lot. Okay. But now when you add that $4, the next time you're doing compounding interest, you're doing it on what? on $104. Okay. When you take that, you add it again to the next one. It doesn't look like a lot. And then remember, we said every year you're adding that money while you're hiring them. Okay. So each year you're adding another 100 in addition to the 104 that is continuously being reinvested and is compounded. You see how over time that can result to a significant amount of return on investment. Okay. Now, what's great about a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is an account that is set up with after tax money, which means is money that taxes has been taken out of and invested. So when your child gets to 50 and is taking out that 1 million or more, do you know they don't have to pay taxes on that at all? So imagine the power of this. But two things needed to happen. You needed to be disciplined enough to put that money and not touch it.
Exactly.
You needed to embrace the power of compounding interest. And that's why we encourage you to start early. That's just one way. Now, some people, when I talk about investing in real estate, people start to think real estate is expensive. Now things have changed. Doc, I'm sure you're aware, we have this real estate investment, this trust, right? They call them REIT, REIT. You can research. You don't need to even have $1,000 to invest. You can just start investing bit by bit. But now imagine every year you're using that to buy a little portion of that for your child, investing that for them in real estate. By the time the child is getting to 18 or 21, man, the amount of real estate that they have access, that they own, right? Talk less of now getting the return on their investment. It doesn't stop there. You can use that to reinvest it for them for their own entrepreneurial pursuits. Okay. Now, so the reason why I'm saying this is because most of us, especially of African descent, did not have systems like this in place, or at least our parents did not even know this. Okay. So now think of us who have been empowered and we have this younger generation. If we could just discipline ourselves and say, you know what, I will do it differently for my kids. I'm going to start saving just a little money. Just even if you're not doing too much, 1,000 a year while they're young, you invest that in the stock market. Before they turn 18, you would be surprised just how much money you would have saved for them had it reinvested, and then they can get access to that money. I mean, whatever age you choose for them to have access to. But Doc, this is not a thing where you can just convince someone to say, take your money and go put somewhere. No, we work hard for our money. But remember that they also earn this money. I never said you should give them money for free. If you hire them in your business, you guys have an agreement and they have earned the money. You help them as a parent to invest this money. So don't look at it from the perspective of I'm giving my child money. That's where failure will start. Look at it as, okay, they have earned their money. I'm going to help them invest it. Let's see, what's the worst that could happen? Let's think about it. If your 12-year-old invest until they get to 18, let's say you all made a mistake. Okay, they still have enough time to bounce back. Right? People who start at 50, if they make mistakes, I mean, of course, you can always bounce back, but it costs them more. At 12, what are the chances here that they won't have enough time to bounce back into this? Okay, now let's think of even something like life insurance. Okay, there are a lot of people who are for or against using life insurance as an investment vehicle. Everyone has their I inform. Okay, I don't give you opinions. I inform you so you make an informed decision. Okay. So with life insurance, it's something that we have under whole life insurance, okay, or permanent. And what they say is that it's able to build cash value. So when you put money in it, it builds cash value. At a certain point, you can borrow out of that. And when you borrow out of it, let's say, God forbid, you die. They'll still give your family what they could have gotten if you had died, but they would deduct the difference. Okay. Now, when most people get whole life insurance later in their later years, on the fence. But if you did that for a child who was still young and you took some of the money they earned and put that, by the time they turn 30, they could actually borrow a chunk of money out of their own and invest it in a business. Now, this is them taking money out, putting it in a business, or even buying assets, buying buildings, putting it on rent, making more money. It's their policy, right? Yeah. So there are so many vehicles we can use to reinvest the money that our kids earn. Please give it a try. I would just encourage you to give it a try. It won't work if you're not disciplined enough to do it. And it won't work if you think you're giving your kids free money. No, let them earn it. And then you can use what they have earned to invest it for them. And you will be surprised what you will learn in the process and things that you even want to do differently for yourself as an adult.
Yeah. Incredible, incredible. You see, that is why people just have to get this book.
Yes.
You just have to get this book, and it's very affordable, guys. So get it on Amazon, especially those who are in, North America, USA, Canada, even
Yes.
Europe, Middle East. Get the book because it carries a lot more about building family wealth
Yes.
just beyond, the United States. Well, because when I was studying this book myself, it again it goes beyond taxes. Although the title is hire your kids, save taxes, and build a legacy, it goes beyond that. When I was studying it, one thing that my mind was picking out, or I could see, was that I could see how it encourages, the right financial structure within the family.
Yes.
Number two, I could see how it teaches, parents how to encourage financial stewardship. Number
Yes.
three, I could see financial systems. And as somebody who, I've spent some time in this industry across different things, show me any human being, show me a family that they can put financial structures, they can encourage financial stewardship, and they have proper financial systems. That family cannot end up broke.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you start. And
Yes.
if you do your research on finances, you'll notice that most people that end up struggling financially, or for example, popular research, people that win lottery, over 90% of them end up broke
Yes.
because they suddenly become rich. They became rich suddenly. So
Yes.
money came into a life that there were no structures,
Yes.
zero stewardship. They cannot steward that money at all. They have no systems in place to do anything. So
Yes.
when you go through that book, you will learn structures, you will learn stewardship, you will learn systems, and transfer that to a child.
Yes.
That child will survive anywhere because
Yes.
they have something in them that will enable them to survive. Now, with that understanding in mind, with what I saw, the question I want to ask you is, what can you say to a parent watching this? How can they structure, how can they balance structure and freedom in family entrepreneurship so that the kids don't feel that they are caged, even
Mhm.
though structure, stewardship, and system is important. So, what can you encourage a parent, because you have the experience with dealing with parents and mothers and fathers who have been able to, bring their kids into the business, but at the same time, the kids are flourishing and they have freedom to do what kids likes to do.
Yes.
So, what can you encourage a parent who is wondering? So, how can I bring structure and freedom? How can these two
Yes.
coexist in a family setting entrepreneurship?
I love that. I really love that, Doc. You would think ancient days we will go straight to entrepreneurship, but no, it has to start with the parent recognizing their role
Yeah.
in the child's life. You know, being a parent is it's like a calling. It's
Mhm.
something that you've been entrusted with.
Yeah.
You can't be too entitled. That's why even if a parent abandons a child,
Mhm.
someone, God will always raise someone to take care of that child. Okay.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, now you have to understand what is your role in this child's life.
Mhm.
For this time that you've been entrusted with this child, what are you supposed to do to help this child become the person that God created them to be? Once you understand what your role is and what you embody, and you understand the strengths of that child, you will be able to start creating systems now that will allow you first to be that parent you've been called to be, which is to love this child, to discipline this child, to provide for this child, trusting God, because God is the one who provides, but He uses you as the vessel to make sure
Absolutely.
that this child is getting educated. And then in so doing, you're also recognizing the skill sets that this child has,
Mhm.
the areas of strengths that this child has, the areas where this child is struggling. You're asking the child questions about where they want to go and who they want to become because you yourself don't even have a full picture, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
once you have that understanding of who you are and you want to serve in your role as a parent, you put system in place to allow you do that. And
Yeah.
what I mean is, even though you might have individual goals as a person, because you've also been entrusted with the role of parenthood, you have to make sure that you're incorporating both. That's where
Absolutely.
the structure starts. Because if you get so caught up in your personal goals, forgetting
Mhm.
that as a parent, I've also been entrusted with some responsibility, you can lose sight of that. Okay,
Got it.
so you have your goals, but you understand that as a parent, I have a responsibility over these ones. I've been given within this time frame, whether it's 18 years or how many years that God has entrusted them in my care. I have a
Mhm.
responsibility to raise them, to help them know who they are, help them become confident human beings, help them to
Mhm.
become valuable human beings. Now, when you have that, you will start to put things in place. Okay, how do I do that for them? Well, providing for them is one. That's a
Absolutely.
whole structure, making sure that food is taken care of. They have a place to stay. They are safe
Mhm.
and all of that. Second thing is making sure they're having the right education. With the right education, you can continue to prepare them to become who God created them to be. Third thing now is allowing them to understand what value is and how to become valuable people. That's where your business could come in. But let's remember that this is not just for parents that are entrepreneurs, because this cuts across everything else, right?
Absolutely.
Now, if you're an entrepreneur, bringing them into your business is a powerful way to teach them these different areas where they could develop themselves, where they could understand value adding, exchange, and all of those things, how to deal with people. That doesn't mean if you're not an entrepreneur, you don't have the same responsibility to train them. That's why we have parents that expose their kids to go for volunteerism, right? We send them to go to other institutions and put in their time or be mentored by other people. Those are all the systems that you're putting in place so that by the time that your kids grow up, that legacy we talk about is beyond money. It's who they have become that will continue to make an impact in the world. So you start as a parent, you understand your role as a parent, you understand what you're supposed to do in order to help these kids become who God has created them to be. And you create now your structure around that. The worst thing for you to do is to copy the structure of someone else's household in your own household without understanding who your kids are or the role that you are supposed to play. You'll be very surprised. The person who is called to be a stay-home mom in a season, their structure can never be the same with someone who is teaching and being a mom, who in a season has been called to volunteer somewhere or take care of a sick parent and still be a parent at home. You understand? So it's very important that you understand your own role first, irrespective of your personal goals and things like that, but understand what role you're supposed to play in their lives. Create those systems around that. And the best part of it, Doc, is the best lesson you can pass on them in how to be structured and incorporate family is by the life that you live as a person. The love that you show them, how you exemplify authentic a living or a life of integrity, a life of structure in your own self, doing the things that you said you're going to do. That way, so when you bring it to them, they know that we're around someone who always does what they say they will do, who operates in structure, who says they're going to study at this time and they do it, who say they're going to go to work at this time and they do it. That living that life is the best way you can incorporate structure and family.
That is so good. That is so good. We have been here for 50 minutes, so it means we have 10 minutes to go. And trust me, I have more questions to ask than I have time. When I was reading the book and preparing for this, it's like after every paragraph, I have a question for you. So
Yes, yes.
that is how good the book is.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to say how good the book is.
Yes,
So if you are here and you want to establish your family the right way, especially when it comes to finances
yes,
and transitioning that good legacy for your child, trust me, it will be one of the best things that you can do. So we'll try to answer. I'm going to skip some questions. So we'll answer three questions I think that are important, and then we can answer questions from the audience. So if you're watching, you have a question, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. And if you also feel that your questions are too technical and you want to have a Zoom session with Dr. Lilly, she's so generous that she's giving 15 minutes of her time for free, as at her level, at the
yes,
expertise she commands. She gives 15 minutes for free just to answer your pressing questions
yes.
one on one. So you can do that, send a DM on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you receive a link to have that scheduled and have a meeting with Dr. Lilly. Now, in in the book, when I was reading the book, you mentioned amazing, let me say, business words like the Augusta rule, that is renting your
Oh,
home to
yes.
your business.
Oh, yes.
You also mentioned board of directors. So
Yes.
include all these amazing business terms. So here's my question. Here's my question to you. How can a small family, let's say my wife and I and our daughter, very small family, right? How can a small family start thinking like corporations? We are here, but from the book,
Mhm.
you're encouraging us to think here. So
Yes.
to avoid being overwhelmed, how can, even though we're still down here, how can we start
Yes.
thinking from here even though we're down here? So, how can small
Yeah.
families watching this start thinking like corporations without losing, that family flair or that family lifestyle or without feeling overwhelmed? How can we start small, even though we are
Yes.
supposed to be thinking from that level?
Take it from there. I like that. I like that. So for someone who might be wondering where Doc got those, so in the book, I provide additional tax strategies for
Mhm.
families. Okay,
Yes.
and just different ways that families can leverage the tax code to save on taxes and continue their wealth building
Yes.
and legacy building. One of
Mm.
them is that you could actually rent your home to your business for 14 days, right? And your business will pay you for that time. Your business
Mhm.
will take the deduction, but you don't have to report the income. Okay. So
Yes.
I could rent my home to my business for masterminding, for board meetings, and all of those things. So long as it's not over 14 days, I get to invoice my business. My business pays me that money,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I don't have to report it to the IRS because it's under 14 days. Okay.
Mhm.
So now, one of the other strategies I pointed was, as a family, you can set up yourselves, you can set a board of director or a board of advisors. And what this board really does is when you guys get together, if you're going on a family vacation, you could
Mhm.
hold some of your board meetings. And by so doing, some of those travel expenses become business expenses, right?
Exactly.
And what's even great is in the book, I give you guys templates of how you can document the minute of your board meetings. All right.
Mhm.
I even give you a template of a contract you can set between
So,
you and your business so you
yeah.
can rent your home to your business. So it's really good. You got to get it. So now I want to
Exactly.
come to what Doug asked, because Doug, I think this mindset is one of the best ways to start to shift the perspective of your kids.
Yeah.
When we talk about setting a board of directors, it sounds like some big words, but all it is just giving ourselves structure when it comes to having conversations about our business. Okay, so we set together. These are a little board. It can be you and your spouse, and maybe some family members that you're close to. All right, your
Mhm.
beautiful baby is still very young, so
Mhm.
but some family members or friends that you're close to, that even sometimes you take trips together. You
Mhm.
bring them on, and then you can pick on their brains on, ways that you can improve your business. Okay, Doc, you're an internationally recognized consultant, trainer, you transform businesses. Before going on your next trip, you can hold a board of directors meeting. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to this country. Do you guys think there are investment opportunities there? How can I expand the brand while I'm over there? Right? And you pick on their brains. Now, if you guys did that at your home one evening and you documented what it costs in that area to rent a similar boardroom to hold that meeting, and then now
Exactly.
the food that you guys ate and all of those things, these now become business expenses, right?
Mhm.
But it just started with you making that decision of incorporating your business, the conversations around your business into
Mhm.
family, but giving it structure. That's
Good.
it. In
Yeah.
fact, to be honest with you, every family already holds a board meeting. They just don't make
Exactly.
it structured, right? We already hold board meetings. We're just
Yeah.
not making it structured, right?
Exactly.
I don't know
Exactly.
if Christian is still on, but I want to pick on Christian. I saw him post something one time about his daughter. He sent a message to the daughter. She took a screenshot of him, and so he took a screenshot of her. They could hold a board meeting, right? And say,
Exactly.
I'm concerned about the privacy of my stuff because I'm a business owner. Let's think about this. Does this
Mhm.
advance our brand? And I know this is, I don't know if he decided to bring his daughter to work on his social media, for example. Can you
Yeah.
imagine just putting her on the board and then they can hold meetings about things like this? Like, okay,
Exactly.
how do we make sure that our conversations are private, without someone having access to families? Or what? I mean, it was between the two of them. I thought it was very funny, but it was really cute, right? So
Exactly.
you and your wife already have board meetings, Doc. You
Mhm.
really
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
What will make it different now is that you choose to make it structured and official, and you document your
Absolutely.
meetings, right?
Absolutely.
I know a few people have. I mean, I don't share things a lot about my personal life, but my husband and I have quarterly meetings. I
Mhm.
mean, when it comes to important conversations, we don't have them casually, right?
Mm,
So we have monthly meetings, we have quarterly meetings, we have annual meetings, and
mhm,
we document these things. Okay. So
mm.
now, if we travel and we went somewhere and we had these meetings and we have all the documentation, we talk about our businesses. This is a
Exactly.
whole meeting we've just held, the food that we've eaten and all of that. These are all included because we have it documented. So this is not something and we've been doing this for several years now. We have all of these documented. So you and
Exactly.
your wife are doing that already. All you can do now is make sure that you're documenting the conversations that you're
Right.
having, the
Right.
decisions that you're making. So don't just wake up in the middle of the night, honey, I was thinking about this thing. Oh no, we're having a board meeting. We're going to this restaurant. We'll be there
Yes.
at 7 p.m.
Yes.
This was what we talked about. This was the
Exactly.
decision we had. Now you
Mm.
just took your wife on the date, but you now have your board meeting over there.
Yeah.
It becomes a business expense, right? And
Exactly.
you kept money in your pocket. If you want to
Yeah.
add more
Yeah.
people, you can
Mhm.
do that. So you see how easy it is to incorporate that to your family without
Exactly.
feeling like
Yeah.
it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And do
Mm-hmm.
it when you're already
That's so
doing.
good. That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. I know you could go on and on and on
I
and on.
know.
Guys, you guys just need to you guys, you need to
Grab
get
the
the book. You
book.
need to get the book. There's a lot in that book. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Aristide, Bernadette Kinyoy. Thank you,
Oh yes.
Cyril
Hi everyone.
Chonjong. Thank you, OJ Miller, Vera Avanda. John
Yes.
Etta. John Etta says, I will start holding board meetings with my
Yes.
sons.
Yes. You have to. You have to.
That's so
Yes.
good. That's so good.
Yes.
Sarah says, what truly sets this book apart is how she weaves in faith, integrity, and family values throughout each lesson. That is
Thank you, Sarah.
somebody who is reading the book already. I can
Yes.
tell. I can
Thank you,
tell.
Sarah.
All right.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
time is on us, and I see an important question on ask you, but let me try. Let me try my best. So, towards the end of the book, you close the book by saying that the greatest legacy isn't money, but values and skills that a parent can transfer to the kids. Now, you have a
Yeah.
daughter, Anna. If Anna were to interview, um, if I were to interview Anna 20 years from today, right? What do you hope that Anna would say about the lessons that she would have absorbed, either from working with you in your business directly or from you guys working together on a business idea? What would she say?
Oh, that's a good one. So I would hope, based on the things that we already do, that the first thing she would know that all she would have learned all the years is how important it is to honor God in our
Mhm,
work,
mhm.
in word, in thought, and in how we treat people.
Yeah.
I really hope she'd have gotten that. I hope she would have gotten and remembered, how much we prioritize reading
Mhm,
and always, rejecting the idea of just hearing words from social media or things without doing research. I
mhm.
hope that will stay with her because
Nice.
we come, I'm always on half of that. And then the last thing is never making money become a thing that you want to use to brag or prove a point, but for
Wow.
it to only be a tool for
Mm,
you to extend kindness and be more valuable. I
nice.
hope that these are the three most important things that she tells you guys 20 years from now that she got
Nice.
from me.
All
Yes.
right. All right. All right. I know that is time up. We are supposed to be here for 1 hour, but I must ask this last question because
Yes.
you guys want to hear this question. You travel across the country, across states and cities. You go internationally to do different things.
Yes.
Looking ahead after the launch of this book, uh, the airport lounge, so many things, what kind of stories do you hope that parents will tell you after seeing you 5 years after applying this book, 2 years after, when a parent sees you that, oh, that's Dr. Lilly? What kind of stories do you hope you would like to hear from parents?
Oh my God, I love it. I would love to hear parents tell me you inspired me to get my kids involved in my business. I would love to hear them say, I got my kid involved in my business and they came up with their own idea of things that they want to do and they are doing incredible work in it. I would love, lastly, to hear parents say, I love that I didn't have to separate my faith in all that I was teaching my kids
Mm,
and in
that's so
who that
good.
I am. So I those are the conversations I would love to hear. Yeah, it will come down to these.
All right, people, you have heard from Dr. Lilly herself,
Yes,
and you have to get this book, Hire Your Kids, Save Taxes, and Build a Legacy. Please get it as a gift for your siblings, for your friends, for church brothers and sisters. Please buy more than one. I want to challenge
yes,
you, buy more
yes,
than one, and tell somebody that I love your family so much.
yes,
And I want to give you more than drinks, more than the
yes,
hangouts that we have. I want to give you a book that I believe if you read this book and
yes,
apply what you learn from the book, in
yes,
5 years' time, you will look back and be proud of your family. All right.
yes,
And again, remember, when you buy the book and you feel that there are some things that you need a more tailored counsel from Dr. Lilly, jump in first on a 15-minute free call. And maybe at the
yes,
end, you can get her on a retainer basis as your family's
yes,
consultant, as far as helping you build that legacy for your family's concern. I always say that there are some things in this life that are nice to have, and there are some that they are a must have. And I believe that having this body of knowledge to apply in your family is a must have for
yes,
you as a parent or a would be parent. All right.
yes.
So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, Vanita Hurt, for she says her book came
Anita,
yesterday. Thank you
yay!
so much, Sarah. Thank you for being here. Everybody that if you have purchased the book, thank you so much. Please, if you can go back on Amazon and leave a review, Dr. Lily will greatly appreciate,
I
so that let
really,
others see how impactful the book has been for you, so that Amazon can also push the book for other families. It is not about the money. It is always about let people get more hands on these materials. And I'm feeling led to share this. Dr. Lily happily shares these things in communities for free. So if you run a community online, on site, and you want to book Dr. Lily for free, actually, if
yes,
her schedule permits, she will happily come to your community.
yes,
She's a very busy woman. She's an academic, she's an accounting professor. She runs a firm. She's a
yes,
coach and a consultant to different people and family businesses. So, but she still goes the extra mile to create time within the
yes,
weekend or maybe an evening session with the community and share these things in detail and answer questions. So if you have a community in North America, especially United States, and you want her to jump in and have a call with
yes,
you guys and give you guys a free session, please send a DM on LinkedIn, on Facebook where you're watching this, or just screenshot that email and that number on your screen, and
yes.
she will happily work a schedule with you to be on your show or on
Oh my
your
God,
program
yes,
or with your community.
yes.
All right. So,
Doc,
any
can I
last
add
word?
one thing before we
Yes, please.
close?
Yes.
This is very important, you guys. Please, this is very important. If you're here, and one of the things I've committed myself to before the year is over is I would really love to come to a couple of groups and talk to them, not just about year-end tax planning, but about
Mhm.
the changes in the new tax bill. Because a lot of
Exactly.
us are not aware of that. We'll be doing a live session on that here as well. But if you're part of a group, remember it has to be a group. If you're part of a group that could benefit from this, I am committed to volunteering some of my time. I said that before. I do that now towards the end of the year. I have a number that I want to meet of the number of organizations that I would love to come to and do this. I want to empower our community. There's so much out there we don't know. And I don't take my role for granted that I've been put in a place where I can understand this and I can simplify it for us to understand so that we can implement it in our daily lives. So if you're
Absolutely.
part of a group that could benefit from this, I'm more than happy to work out something. Come talk to you guys either about year-end tax planning or how the new bill is going to affect individuals and businesses. There's such a need in these areas. Please make sure that you leverage empty my brain, as I always say. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. That is it for today. We are
Yes.
meeting next weekend again to handle
Yes.
another amazing topic, and it will bless you. But please keep getting the book, keep sharing it, and God
We
bless
forgot
you.
book firm. We forgot book firm. Oh my God, we made a promise.
Oh yes, yes,
We made a
yes.
promise. Three
There's
things
a
every parent
question.
should leave with.
Yes,
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 yes. Three
yes. There are
action plans
questions.
you should leave with.
Yes,
Three action plans. Okay, first thing, depending on if you're, yeah, that's the question. If a parent is reading your
yes.
book, what are the first three practical steps that you would have them take this
Mhm.
week? Remember, this book is about hiring your kids. Okay. My first step for you as a parent, if you are a business owner, is sit and have a conversation with your kids. Okay. Get to understand their areas of strength and what it will look like if you brought them on board to your business.
Exactly.
Second, in the course of having that conversation, I want you to ask them the areas that they are interested in. Because there's nothing more beautiful than when you put them in an area they like so you can hone their skills. Okay. So the first thing, have that conversation, figure out their skill sets. That will be my first practical step. Second thing now is for you to go back, look at your own budget in your business, ask yourself, are you able to bring on your child? Because I don't want you to just do this because you want to, take advantage of a tax strategy without putting in the work. Look at your budget for your company. Can you afford to hire your child? And also, do you have the time to be able to train them so they can be efficient at the job? Because again, like I said, if you're going to do this, is for legacy. So this is not just for us to do it because we want to save money. We want to do it right. Okay.
Very.
And then the last thing, if you ask me, the really last thing is, show them the big picture.
Mhm.
Have a conversation with them about the big picture of your
Yeah.
business, where you see your own business going, the role that they can play in the business. And if they grab that vision, you could be surprised some things that you might even learn from them. So those would be my three things. Okay. First thing is for you, have that conversation, check if you have the bandwidth or the finances to hire them. And then last thing, sell your vision to them and see if it's something that they can run with, and you'll be blown away by
Awesome. All right.
what they could do. Yes, I hope that helps.
Yes, that helps. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lilly. Thank you so much, everybody. That is it for today. Thank you all for joining us. And of course, we will have another great time again next week to look at another business topic that will cause a major shift in whatever that you are doing as a business person. So I want to encourage you all, go, you may need to go back and of course listen to the masterclass, as you may call it, get the book and get a deep dive in the book. Keep building that dream, keep building that business, keep building that career, keep building that family. No matter what happens, don't stop building. All right, people, God bless you. Cheers.